Hey, Skywalkers! Welcome back to Today in Star Wars History.
It's your daily Star Wars history lesson.
On this day, October 13th in 2020, Star Wars Origami 2, written by Chris Alexander, is released from Workman Publishing.
And here with us now is the author, Chris Alexander.
Hey, Chris!
Hey, Skywalkers!
Hey, this marks the very first time we're having a guest on Today in Star Wars History.
Yeah, so welcome.
I think this should be a date in Today in Star Wars History. The first time we had a guest on Today in Star Wars History. Boy, look at that. It's so Inception.
It is meta. Yeah, I love that. Oh my
All
gosh.
right, so Chris, tell us about Star Wars Origami 2.
Star Wars Origami 2, which is my second origami book, and I'm very proud of this book. So the first book took me 12 years to compile, write, and then finally convince Lucasfilm to let me publish it, or to get it published. This one only took 8 years. So after the success of the first one, I kept saying, hey, we should do the sequel. I've got plenty of models. And they said, no, we don't think it's a good idea. We don't want the second book competing with the first book. And I'm like, but. After about 8 years, they finally said, hey, do you want to do a second book? And I'm like, I've been asking you for 8 years. What do you think? And they're like, okay, we should do that.
Wow.
Took some cajoling. I'm expecting at this rate in about 6-7 years, maybe they might say, how about a book 3?
Oh, then you can do the Book of Boba Fett Season 4 and the Clone Wars Season 15.
So, cheap plug, I've already got most of those models plugged into my YouTube tutorials, and if you follow those, you can get a link for free PDF paper you can print out, so you can make the models. Here's one from book 2, but you'll get the idea. If you fold it with plain old paper, you'll get the executor, but if you use a special custom paper, you get the custom artwork.
Awesome.
In the books, they all have the custom artwork included, but the stuff that is not in my books, it's on my tutorials, you can download for free from my website.
And I'm so glad that you said executor, not executor.
I made that mistake earlier. I was embarrassed.
All right, so Chris, tell us what else you can find in your Star Wars Origami 2 book, or show us.
So show us. So in Star Wars Origami 2, you can find cover, which is really cool. The first couple pages are how-to. So if you've never done origami, it will actually show you how to do the absolute basic, simplest, up to slightly more increasing basic folds and what they mean in later steps. And then after that, we get to the projects. Each project has a picture, a little description of its place in the Star Wars universe, and then step-by-step directions on how to make everything. For instance, a lightsaber, which is pretty simple. It's a basic one, has 12 steps, all the way up to the hardest of them, which is probably the Poe Dameron's T-70 X-Wing.
Oh, nice. So do you have any samples right there you can show us? Oh, there you go.
So this one is a slightly more advanced version than the one I put in the first book, because it does have the offset cannons that you can see there. So there's a range of models starting from the simple stuff that anybody can start with all the way up to some of the more complex stuff like this, or Lando Calrissian. This is made from one piece of paper, and he even has a blaster in his hand and a little face and a cheesy grin, because what would Lando be without a cheesy grin?
So how many models are in this book?
This book has 34 projects. They call them projects, not models. Every one, and they're from all 9 of the movies. So actually all 11 of the movies, because you can also find fan favorites, one of my favorites, B2SO from Rogue One. You'll find the Lando's version of the Falcon in here, the sleeker version, the cleaner version, and it has the escape pod built into it.
Wow.
Nice.
All right, so you showed us earlier some of the pages, and you had a lightsaber. And having made a lightsaber myself, that's probably one of the easiest ones. What's the most difficult project in the book?
The last one in here, and they decided is the most complicated, is Lando. Next is, oh, this one's not too bad. It's got a couple of tricky folds in it. It's General Grievous's Soulless One.
So how long would it take to put together a project like Lando? For a beginner, not like you, who could do it within like 34 seconds.
I'm gonna guess about 40 minutes, maybe closer to an hour if you're really unfamiliar with it. If you've folded it before, if you're comfortable with origami and the nomenclature and following directions, 20 minutes maybe.
Oh, okay. Whereas the lightsaber is like 3
The
minutes.
lightsaber, I can literally teach the lightsaber to someone who's never touched a piece of paper before, which I did do once. I'm not kidding. So side story, but I'll get back to that. But I can literally teach someone to make the lightsaber in like 3 or 4 minutes. So I was on a scuba trip in Indonesia, and one of the little tiny islands we visited was this little island that has 50 adults and 25 kids who are basically cut off from the world. And they told us, hey, we're going to be visiting these kids. If you want, bring some things that they would appreciate, like notebooks and pencils and things they can use in their schools. And I thought, this would be a good chance to teach them origami. These kids don't even have notebooks. They don't have paper on the island. So when I'm handing out paper, they're literally like, wow, what do I do with it? It was a totally little remote island. The kids were so cute.
So one of the best things about the book is that they give you all the paper to fold.
Right. And it's already pre-printed with all the cool designs.
All right, Chris, well, thanks so much for coming on Today in Star Wars History. You just made history, Chris.
I did, and it has been my pleasure to be with you two today.
Well, if you liked this video and learned a little something about origami, you know what to do. Smash that like button.
And then, of course, subscribe. Whoops, you're supposed to smash that subscribe button.
So may the rest of your day be filled with origami Wookiee hugs.
And pixie dust.
And if any Skywalkers want to buy Star Wars Origami 2, well, head on over there to Amazon. And if you want to see Chris's step-by-step instructions, well, you can go to his YouTube channel at Star Wars Origami.
Check out skywalkingforce.com, our Patreon, because your support will unlock a ton of bonus content that you can just binge all weekend. So check it out at skywalkingforce.com. May the rest of your day be filled with Wookiee hugs
And pixie dust.